Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively.
The Indiana Fever just took another tough loss, this time to the Washington Mystics. Now, you might think this was just another regular season game, but what happened afterward has everyone talking. Because Sophie Cunningham, one of the fiercest voices in the WNBA, didn't hold back. She called out the Fever's toughness, challenged the culture, and basically told the team, "Step up or get out of the way." And when you hear her words, you'll see why this moment might be bigger than just a single game. This is about accountability, leadership, and what happens when the Indiana Fever are forced to survive without Caitlin Clark. Let's start with the game itself. The Fever were matched up against the Washington Mystics, a team that's been up and down all season, but still packs enough talent to cause problems. The first quarter was scrappy. Indiana showed flashes of energy. Aaliyah Boston was battling in the paint, Kelsey Mitchell knocked down a couple of jumpers, and for a moment, fans thought maybe the Fever could grind this one out. But it didn't last. The Mystics, led by Ariel Atkins and Shakira Austin, slowly pulled away. They won the hustle battles. They controlled the tempo. They punished Indiana on the boards. And the biggest difference? Energy. Washington had it. Indiana didn't. Without Caitlin Clark on the court, the Fever lacked rhythm. Their spacing collapsed, their ball movement slowed, and it felt like they were missing not just their star, but their identity. Final score? Mystics win. Fever lose. But the real story was only beginning. Enter Sophie Cunningham. Now, if you've followed Sophie's career, you know she's not afraid to speak her mind. This is the same Sophie who's been called the WNBA's ultimate instigator, the one who mixes toughness with a sharp tongue. So when she stepped up to the post-game mic, reporters leaned in, and Sophie delivered. First, she acknowledged the obvious. Life without Caitlin Clark is brutal. We can't just expect one player to bail us out every night. Caitlin changes the pace, she changes how defenses play us. Without her, we have to create that same energy, and we didn't do that tonight. That's not shade at Caitlin. That's a challenge to the rest of the roster. Then Sophie raised the stakes. The Mystics played harder than us. That's the truth. They were more physical, they set the tone, and we let them. If you're gonna wear a Fever jersey, you have to bring fight every single night. Doesn't matter who's on the floor.
No excuses.
Fire that's not just a critique. That's a dare. Sophie basically told her teammates, toughness isn't optional. Either you match the physicality or you'll get run over. And this wasn't frustration spoken quietly in the locker room. This was Sophie saying it in front of cameras, in front of media, in front of fans. That takes guts. Why does this matter so much? Because the Fever are a young team. Aaliyah Boston, Nalissa Smith, Grace Berger, they're still developing. Caitlin Clark, despite being the face of the franchise, is just a rookie. When you're this young, you need voices in the room who will hold everyone accountable. And that's exactly what Sophie Cunningham was doing. Think of it this way, Caitlin Clark is the star. Aaliyah Boston is the anchor. But Sophie, she's the enforcer. She's the one setting the emotional tone, the one demanding toughness. That's leadership. And whether fans like it or not, Indiana desperately needs it. Of course, the second Sophie's words hit the internet, social media erupted. Fever fans praised her honesty. Finally, someone telling it like it is. Sophie's holding people accountable. Critics pushed back. She's throwing teammates under the bus. That should stay in the locker room. And then there were the memes. Clips of Sophie saying, "You gotta bring that fight," over footage of Mystics players bullying the Fever on rebounds. Twitter captions like, "Sophie said what everyone was thinking." TikTok edits with dramatic music behind her post-game soundbite. The internet loves raw emotion, and Sophie gave it to them. Legacy outlets couldn't resist twisting the story. Some headlines suggested locker room tension. Others implied Sophie was frustrated with Caitlin Clark's absence, as if she was blaming her teammate. But if you actually listen, that's not what Sophie said. She wasn't pointing fingers at Clark. She was telling the rest of the roster, step up, stop waiting for Caitlin to bail you out, and play with pride. It's a subtle but crucial distinction. And it shows just how easy it is for media to miss the real point in favor of a juicier headline. Let's zoom out. The Fever's over-reliance on Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball issue, it's a franchise issue. Without Clark, ratings dip, attendance slides, team energy collapses. That's a dangerous place to be, because if one player defines everything about your team, your identity, your strategy, your marketability, then what happens when she's gone? Sophie knows this, and her comments weren't just about one bad night. They were a wake-up call. Indiana has to prove it can win even when Clark isn't there. Otherwise, they're not a team. They're just a one-woman show. This is also why fans are drawn to Sophie Cunningham. She's not just another player. She's a personality. She plays with fire. She talks with confidence. And she's not afraid of drama. Remember, this is the same player who once mocked opponents mid-game, who thrives on chirping back at fans, who embraces the role of agitator. So when she calls her own team out, that lands differently. That's not empty talk. That's someone who's proven she'll back it up on the court. Now here's the real question. How will the Fever respond? Sometimes, when a veteran calls out her team, players rise to the challenge. They take it personally, they come out tougher, and the team grows stronger. Other times, causes division. Younger players might resent it. The locker room might fracture. So the next few games will tell us everything. Will Indiana tighten up? Or will they crumble further without Caitlin Clark? Either way, Sophie just lit a fire under this team, and there's no going back. Here's the bottom line. The Fever lost to the Mystics. But the bigger story was Sophie Cunningham standing up and saying enough is enough. She questioned toughness. She demanded accountability. And she told her teammates, "You can't wait for Caitlin Clark to fix everything." That's leadership. That's honesty. And that's exactly why this story went viral. Because in sports, fans don't just want highlights. They want drama, passion, and truth. And Sophie gave them all three. So what do you think? Did Sophie Cunningham do the right thing by calling out her team publicly? Or should those conversations stay behind closed doors? Let me know in the comments. I'll be replying to the best takes. And if you respect Sophie's honesty as much as I do, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more WNBA breakdowns. Because trust me, this story is far from over.